Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 499. Yes, the next episode is going to be 500, and it's going to be reviewing the episodes of Gozyuger. When I get back to it. So, in this we're discussing episode 36 of Number 1 Sentai, Gozyuger! Yep, which is part 2 of the story that aired last week. Yeah, I ran out of time yesterday to watch and review this because basically I went to go see Chainsaw Man yesterday. This one's called Get Ready, Rival, What is Youth? Oh, by the way, in this episode, Queen Tanjun is not in the episode. Yeah, she is absent. Do not know the reason for this. And this particular character is supposed to be the main bad guy of the series. And yet she's absent. Yeah, she's been absent the past couple episodes. Well, it's like the whole thing with the chaos stuff. It's like it took her out of the series. Like, is she recharging? Not really clear. Banquet's briefly in the episode for a brief cameo. And I do know next week they're going to debut her sister. Yes. So, Flame Candle doesn't like the fact that that one character died last episode, who apparently was one of the many grunts who was actually one of his friends. So he tells the one card player to go basically do a Gozyuger. So basically, issue challenge. All 6 Gozyugers who basically are just all happen to be at the Half Century Cafe. And we have the owner come by, get some coffee, and Keen is basically sad because it could be his friend in competition. And like, oh, the contest is simply to play old maid. Yep, and well, all the Gozyugers except for Keen all lose. Thanks to apparently, despite the fact they win the hand, they have to pay a basically turns win the round. Like Odin calling, like all basically kind of dumb, just to point to take them off the board. And Keen basically, well, he ends up basically turning old along with his friend, and then they play another round of Old Maid. This time switch from the poker table to a couple of like lounge couches and like a table because it's like three people now. I thought the card table thing was really cool. Reminds me a lot of basically the popular scene. The only time I've seen a scene like this. Now in Sentai, they've never really done this I can think of where they play on a card table before. They have instances of playing. There's not many instances of the. I've not watched all of the Sentai series per se, but of the ones I have seen, none of them basically happens where you could say have the Rangers playing cards with the villains. You could say kind of we have this in Gokaiger, but wasn't like part of the episode. The only time I can think of that's been something like this, the most popular example is the poker scene from Casino Royale, the 2006 version. Yes, so that basically is based upon modern day poker instead of playing the actual game from the original book, which was Baccarat. So then your friend leaves, goes to become a Die Ranger, goes out, gets some eggs, boiled eggs, mind you, because Gene loves eggs. Also, the other guy was eating like these liver drops. And he just happened to run out at that point. So then eats the eggs, becomes young, and beats him. Beats the hand, but you have to fight him, and of course he does. And becomes a wrestling match. Well, actually more like a 2-1 handicap match. Where at first, basically, he was giving him, like, throwing off the ropes. At one point, he was putting him in the walls of Jericho. Yes, the walls of Jericho. Even gave him a big boot. Eventually, he beats him. Then, of course, we actually have where Fire Candle, just basically summons out his robot. And then, by the way, we have this, randomly we have a host because, well, these monsters usually have human hosts. Who don't know this person, never seen him before, he was in the last episode. So he's taken away someplace, wherever the heck he was. And the remains of this monster used to form, combined with Fire Candle's, his mecha. And then, of course, Haru basically just summons his robot while the King's Sword, and then everybody else summons theirs. Because we have, for for the first time ever in this series, a combination mech that's not 2 into 1. This is 6 into 1. The 5 primary ones plus Tengu Sword himself. And I'm like, what the heck? This is probably... Now, I heard Dawn Brothers had this record of the longest time to wait for a combination mech. That was 12 episodes. This was 36 episodes in. Probably the record. This probably broke that record of the longest time we finally got a combination mech. Except one small problem. They didn't go inside the mech and have a basically 6-person cockpit. Or he's a 5-person cockpit. For some reason, Boomonger and Kingonger did not have this at all. It's like, are these shows afraid of having stuff like this? Well, Gozyuger does have this, yes. You're probably thinking, like, what was the first series to do the whole have basically everyone to one cockpit? Well, yes, Die Ranger had this. Dynaman and Battlefield J had this. Basically, there was our cockpit right there. But afterwards, like, you have these all for the combination mech thing. The first one to ever do this was actually Flashman. And generally put, basically, from that point forward, they always had a combination mech where at some point, basically, they would have, like, all in the same cockpit. The first one to not do this, where they don't automatically go in the cockpit, per se. Yeah, Hurricane Shirt at first didn't do this, but eventually they did do it. They did have a shared cockpit. But you're probably thinking, like, because last one before it was actually Bioman. And then, for the longest time, that was a common thing of everybody occupy the cockpit. And that was the case up until, believe it or not, I would say, you could say, oh, what about Gozyuger? They eventually did have a cockpit like that. So, I would say, after Bioman, the next time we anything like this, where we didn't have all the characters in the same cockpit, was, believe it or not, Go Busters. Yep, Go Busters did not have this at all. For some reason, not really sure exactly why. They were planning to have basically everybody shared the same cockpit, but everybody was on separate cockpits from start to finish. They never changed it. Though, looking at the next series, Kyroger did do it. Tokuger, Ninjanger, they did it too. Now, I'm not sure. Now, you're probably thinking, what about Kyranger? This one, I'm trying to remember. I think this one did not have basically a all-person cockpit that I remember. Yeah, this one I didn't remember if it did or not. I don't know about Loop Ranger, Kira Major, Zenkaiger, Dawn Brothers. These 4 I do not know about if they have basically had this like this. But I do know that Kingonger, Boomonger, this one, where we have these combination mechs and we don't have everybody sharing the main cockpit. I always thought that was really cool. Seeing that, and it's always a bummer we don't see that much. You probably think, like, what, maybe they phased out? No, I think that was a really cool thing. Everybody sharing the same cockpit to save on space. We had to have 5 separate cockpits. It was it looked kind of silly. So then, of course, thanks to using the Tengu Sword, like Harris, like, oh, this is gonna be one time. Probably gonna be used next episode, and they defeat Flame Cow's mecha, which first time in a while that mecha's been seen. I think it's the scene since the early of the series, and well. Then, of course, Ginju, Keen's friend, gives him the Die Ranger ring, and he walks up, presuming not be seen again, but yeah, now we have one additional ring, that being Die Ranger. currently still, Bayagami, he does not have any. He does not have any rings in his possession. Just basically now, Gozu Wolf. He has, aside from his own ring, Wild Wolf, Tengosaur Red, Tengosaur Akaska. He also, and of the Sentai rings, he has Dawn Brothers, Jetman, Time Ranger, Bokinger, Shurikinger, Go-Go 5, Go Busters, Flashman, Loop Ranger, Panther Ranger, Go Ranger, Battlefield J, O Ranger, Op Ranger, Car Ranger has 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. He currently has 15 rings. Lion, this is blue. He has 4 rings, Sun Vulcan, Gal Ranger, Zoologer, and Magic Ranger. Tyranno has nothing aside from his own rings. Ego currently has Kyroger, Kira Major, Bioman, and Dire. He now has 4 rings. Unicorn has Rare Soldier, Gingaman, Goanger, Mega Ranger, Q Ranger, and Zenkaichi. So she has 6. Polar has Geki Ranger, Gokaiger, Zoo Ranger, Hurricane Ranger, Boomanger, and Tokyuger. And a Ring Hunter, he has Jaka, Denziman, Gozyuger, Live Man, Turbo Ranger, Go-Go 5, 5 Man, Ninjanger, Dynaman, Changeman, and Maskman. Yeah, so currently has 11 rings. And Wolf has got, Haru's got basically the most with 12. I would say, okay, who has the third highest? That's not Ring Hunter or Wolf. Excuse me. Most of the girls here has 4 or 6. I would say it's a tie for the third most with Unicorn and Polar. Polar has 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, basically Unicorn and Polar both have tied with the third most with 6. The one with the least is Lion. He has 4. Yep, 4 rings. And mostly put the phrases like "get ready" is something used by Kyroger. And the music, dance thing was actually from Kira Major, which I have not seen Kira Major yet, so it's on my list. So I wasn't really familiar with the music per se. It was nice seeing the old man King again. Like, this is probably the first time we've seen the old man version of him. Probably not since, like, the pilot episode. Yeah, not since his debut. Not since his flashback. Yeah. Aside from, like, basically, like, in present day, aside from his debut appearance, well, when he was an old man, and here's the thing, aside from his debut, which was basically episode 3, his first appearance, which is cameos, I would say first time since episode 3 that we see him first time as an old man. We don't even see his grandson in the episode, which is like, really? Yeah, he briefly appears in episode 35, which actually was the first time he had been seen since episode 4. Yeah, first time since episode 4 he had been seen. Yeah, but it looks like definitely the next episode should be interesting, but we'll find out and see. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is the first of 3 anime, that being Isekai Quartet. And there's a reason why I picked this one first, because, well, you'll find out and see. Okay, next film. Bye.